Good evening. It is 5:15 this Monday, October 9th, and the Carroll City Council is now in session. Would you all please rise and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, we have tonight's agenda in front of us. Roll call, all are present. The first item of business is National Fire Prevention Week proclamation. And it's a little lengthy, but I'll speed read. But the National Fire Prevention Week proclamation, effective October 8th through 14th, 2023. Whereas the City of Carroll, Iowa is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Carroll. And whereas this year's campaign works to educate everyone about simple but important actions where they can take place when cooking to keep themselves and those around them safe. And whereas cooking is the leading cause of home fires and home fire injuries in the United States. And whereas unattended cooking is the leading cause of fire and deaths. And whereas always keeping a close eye on what you are cooking, turning pot handles towards the back of the stove, and keeping a kid and pet-free zone of at least 3 feet around the stove or grill are key safety tips to help reduce the risk of a cooking fire. Whereas Carroll's first responders are dedicated to reducing the occurrence of home fires and home fire injuries through prevention and protection education. And whereas the 2023 Fire Prevention Week theme, Cooking Safety Starts With You. Pay attention to fire prevention. Effectively serves to educate the public about the vital importance of simple but important actions that they can take when cooking to keep themselves and those around them safe. Whereas I, Mark E. Beardmore, Mayor, City of Carroll, Iowa, do hereby proclaim October 8th through 14th, 2023 as Fire Prevention Week throughout this community. I urge all the people of Carroll to educate themselves and others around them about safe cooking practices and to participate in the many public safety activities and efforts of Carroll's fire and emergency services throughout the year. And this would be adopted and passed by the City Council effective tonight. You want me to pass that down to Misty for one last signature? Need one last signature on that. I couldn't have written that better myself, Dan. Thank you very much. We have tonight's consent agenda. We have approval of the minutes of the September 25th meeting, approval of this cycle's bills and claims. We have several licenses and permit to approve. First one is the renewal of a Class C liquor license with outdoor service for Don Roy's, DBA, the Hub and Piranha Club. Renewal of a Class E retail alcohol license for Fairway Stores number 409. Renewal of a Class C retail alcohol license with catering privilege for Hy-Vee Market Cafe. New Class B retail alcohol license, Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh. New Special C retail native wine license for Full Swing Golf LLC. A new special 5-day Class C retail alcohol license with outdoor service for October 20th of 2023 with Lucky Wife Wine Slushies. We also have in tonight's agenda, or consent agenda, is the acceptance of a tobacco settlement agreement. We also have 2 bid opening reports, first on a small utility tractor and a second one on a front mount mower, cab, and blower. Is there any questions about tonight's consent agenda? And if not, I would seek a motion to approve as presented.
So moved.
Tom?
Second.
JJ? Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Case?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Fournier?
Yes.
Schreck? Yes. Motion is approved.
Thank you. As always, we have item number 5, oral requests and communications from the audience. Or anybody in the audience that wishes to address the council on any item that is not on tonight's agenda, speak now. Hearing none. We don't have anybody online anymore either, do we? So we'll move past to that. There are no ordinances tonight, and we're going to move a little bit on our agenda. Randy needs to be out, I believe, at the airport here shortly, and so we're going to move his items up before we get to the rest of the resolution. So Chad, keep it in park for right now, and we're going to move Randy's items 7B and 8A on tonight. The first one, the water distribution main replacements.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you too, Randy.
As you recall from the last meeting, proposals were received for the water distribution main improvements or replacements project. 5 proposals were received. The apparent lowest responsive bidder was Jet Drain Services. They're at a bid price of $523,910. With that number in mind, the total project cost would now be estimated at $594,310. That exceeds the amount of budgeted funding by about $94,310. If you recall, last meeting, the bids were, award of the bid was deferred by the council to further investigate the proposals and the needs and the available funding. At this point, it appears that there are 3 alternatives for disposal of the proposals. First of all, they could be rejected. Secondly, a contract award could be made for Group B only. And in doing so, that would put the estimated project cost within the budgeted amount of money. Or thirdly, award the contract for both groups A and B, and then fund that remaining balance, the $94,310, out of the water utility fund balance. And as of the end of August, that balance exceeded $3.1 million. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend award of the contract for the water distribution main replacements, both groups A and B, to Jet Drain Services at their bid price of $523,910.
Very good. Randy, if we split it up into 2 projects, it's only going to come out to be more money, correct? I mean, it's going to be prudent in terms of overall economy. It's just to lump it all together and grin and bear the $94,000, and there are funds in the enterprise fund to cover it.
There are,
correct?
yes. Mm-hmm.
What is the council's thoughts?
Randy, what was the big difference with these guys compared to everybody else? I mean, we're talking $113,000 difference to the next lowest bidder.
Yeah, the main difference in the bids was in their trenchless construction. We had a couple of different trenchless bid items, and this company bid considerably lower on those individual items than our estimate or the other bidders. And really, it was about, the majority of it was within those 3 bid items, majority of the difference.
You ever worked with this company before?
We have not. They are from Ames, and they have never bid in Carroll. And of course, so we have never had a contract with them. I did talk to some personnel that has worked with them, and they gave a favorable recommendation for the company.
Okay.
I appreciate you doing the extra legwork on that, because you get off into the unknown, and particularly when they're, like Kyle said, markedly different. You want to make sure that and it sounds like you performed quite a little bit of due diligence, is what I found out Friday. So thank you for doing that.
Yep.
Any other thoughts or questions? So once again, the recommendation is for approval of the resolution awarding the contract for the water main distribution project, Group A and B, to Jet Drain Services at their price of $523,910.
I'll make a motion on that.
Second?
Okay, Kyle and then Carolyn. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Base,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Schreck,
Yes.
Bauer,
Yes.
Bordenero.
Yes.
Resolution approved.
Very good, thank you. Is that going to begin yet, this fall yet? And then you, isn't that,
I have not discussed that
Okay.
with them yet. The contract is set up so that they can, if it fits into their schedule, do one of the stages, the East Street stage.
Yeah.
The US 30 stage, we intentionally delayed until next year. Didn't want to get into the highway and have it open having a trench open during the winter.
right, okay. Very good. Okay, so we're going to move to, I think, item 8A, I believe, is that right? And that's the Adams Street Reconstruction Project Change Order Number 2. Randy?
Thank you, Mayor. During the Adams Street construction project, there were a few items of work that were encountered that were outside of the contract and needed to be done to keep the project going. They've been included in a change order. There's 6 of them. And just briefly, they include some additional pavement removal and replacement right out here on the east side of City Hall. The parking area had a crack in it, wasn't planned on being replaced in the plan, but it was decided later while we're doing the work to remove it and replace it. We had a storm sewer change also right out here near City Hall at 7th Street. It was avoid a utility conflict that was unknown at the time of project design. We installed an additional yard hydrant over in the northeast corner of 7th and Adams. There were 4 yard hydrants taken out of that intersection when we removed the old water main, and we replaced one for use in irrigating the landscaping in that intersection. Had to change the size of reducer because our record had indicated a 6-inch pipe connection, and when we uncovered it, it was a 4-inch. So it's a simple change. A service change at 605 North Adams. Once again, records indicated one size of sewer and water line, and actually when it was uncovered, it was a different size. So we had to make that adjustment to get that building connected to the sewer and water. And 715 North Adams, a roof drain. There was existing a roof drain that drained to the street curb, and that's not unusual in town. It's permitted, and there are several. When we uncovered it, we decided to pipe it to the nearest storm sewer, just for protection of this new pavement. So that was an additional cost. So total change order proposal at $19,225.69. Those are the items that would be added to the contract. Now, there are associated items that will increase some of the unit priced items in the contract, as I kind of explained in change order number 1. So in those cases, we don't necessarily change every individual unit quantity in the contract, but they will increase as a result of some of these changes. And so that brings, with this change order, it brings the contract cost to $3,564,920.80. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend approval of the change order in the amount of $19,225.69.
Thank you, Randy. Just to kind of paraphrase and summarize it, of the following change orders there, 6 of them, really item number 1 and the last item, so the parking out front here, and then the storm drain, that's actually a homeowner storm drain, but those are pretty much at our discretion, whereas the other 4 were surprises, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's right.
But in my opinion, they both make sense. I mean, you know, to do this while they're here, it's only going to continue to crack and get worse. And then that storm drain, even though it belongs to a homeowner, It's to protect our brand-new street, and that's pretty much what we were trying to address this whole way, with, getting all of the infrastructure in place, and particularly those are privately owned. So what other thoughts that the council might have?
Are they on time? Seems like they're moving right along on this project.
They are moving very well, and they are on schedule, yes.
Late November?
No, about mid-November
Nice.
is when they're planning. It's still weather dependent from here on out, but they have been on schedule the entire project. It's really unusual for a contractor to perform that way.
I was here doing a lot of the paving. That was really cool to see. That was really, really something to see.
Yeah, it seems like in about a week they had about most of the street done with that paving machine, which was really neat.
Other than this section right here, which had to be done by hand, it was 2 days all the way up to 10th Street, right?
Yep.
It was pretty cool. I mean, it was a continuous pour, so
And it was hot.
it was hot. Any other questions for Randy? If not, you've heard the recommendation to approve the change order number 2 in the amount of $19,225.69. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Tom?
Second.
JJ? Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Bauer,
Yes.
Wardenero,
Yes.
Shrek. Yes. Seaman,
Yes.
Base.
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Randy.
Thank you.
Okay. All that shifting around. I know that you're the guy on deck, but what is it? Tell me what it is. No, I know what it is. Go ahead and bring us up to speed.
Yeah,
on,
absolutely. So
the-
on September 28th, we opened bids, 3 bids for the municipal golf course booster pump station project. The winning bid, or the lowest responsive bid, being Synergy Contracting for a base price, construction price of $568,002. Based on the estimates, it was a little higher than previous construction estimates, by about 40,000. After digging through that, we think a lot of it was right on with where we'd kind of seen it broken out. The main problem, or not problem, but the price increase being in electrical work. That was just higher than originally estimated. So based on the low bid received is kind of how we build a lot of this total estimated construction costs, including 5% construction contingency. The testing services at $4,500, that'll be a contract with CTS. We already have that number available. That would be the high end of all their testing that they will do. I believe the low end is closer to 3,000. And then engineering is set in stone through construction and completion of the project for an estimated cost or total construction cost of $698,222. Since 2020, we've been putting money away for this project out of our local option sales tax. If you remember last budgeting season, we kind of waited to see what construction numbers were before continuing putting money away for it. And now that we got bids back and kind of know where we're gonna be, we're also recommending for the $110,000 shortfall, utilizing local option sales tax. And if we have any questions about where that is, Laura's more than happy to be voluntold to answer. So unless there's any questions, our recommendation would be for accepting the bid from Synergy Contracting for the work at the Carroll Municipal Golf Course booster pump station.
Five companies took out plans. We got 3 bids. Wasn't that correct?
And that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was too. I was here for the bid opening Wednesday, so I got all my questions answered. So anybody got any questions for Chad?
I'm just curious about item number 5 on the tab sheet, the prefabricated booster pump station building complete. Why the one is so much higher than the others at Fort? Was
We
there a big
believe-
difference?
So there was 3 companies that they could choose from. you know, they're encouraged to go and seek the lowest possible bidder by contacting each one. We believe the lower two bidders use the same company. As you can see,
Okay.
those two
Yeah,
are
they're
similar.
close, right.
But obviously they put in their own labor as far as installation and things like that. We believe the other group may have just went with one and it was the only one they contacted. So we think
So that
that's
was
kind of
it.
just the
Okay.
general reason
I
why.
was just curious, thanks.
On that same one, on that same bid
Spit
tab,
out.
well, look at the electrical, he kind of touched on it. But if we could have taken
King's
their,
bid on electrical.
King's bid on
this
electrical,
one. Yep.
we'd be there. So, I mean, but look at the difference between the electrical. It's
Yeah,
double.
I know that.
So
it's
what's the
strange.
difference between the buildings? I mean, we're talking $150,000.
Basically I mean, it's just competitors. So whether they went to another one and they're just more top of the line than this one maybe. But all three were spec'd to be designed the exact same. So it more than likely was just based on brand and maybe how much they would have in total installation with it.
And
Is
they
there-
might select the one that's easier to put up, you know? I mean, you just don't know
Could be.
everything that
Or
goes
maybe
into it.
based
but-
on estimated time
Right,
of delivery too.
yeah, availability be another one.
But not a difference in warranty or anything like that?
Nope,
I mean,
nope, they all have the
fit
exact
the
same,
specs?
yep.
Okay, thanks.
Is there a way to talk to them in the future and, you know, can they bid it, you know, this is building one, this is building two? I just look at this with King Construction, if we were at that 246, you know, we're at that $500,000 mark, cause all their other numbers are good.
Could have, I mean, we could have, I mean, I don't know if we can directly just say this one. I mean, we probably could have, but, you know, competition usually helps out. Maybe helping getting a better price on something like that. But all three of these that were specifically designed for this project would have met our criteria. So it was kind of based on the companies, and we went to at least two of them to get kind of pre-numbers, obviously beforehand, and they were very comparable. So not sure which one they chose to pick, and if they, and maybe they did use the same one, they just thought it would be a lot more for installation.
I emailed Laura to give me an estimate on where we're at with local option sales tax with using this 110,000. Do you have that report for the other council?
I do. I don't have the email in front of me, but I can speak to what I put in that email. So when we were putting our fiscal '24 budget together, we are anticipating to end our fiscal '24 local option sales tax balance around $550,000. Let me double check on it. Yeah, about $550,000. Well, since we have ended our fiscal '23 year, I've updated those numbers. And we ended a lot better at fiscal '23 than what we had anticipated. Some of the main differences between what we had estimated fiscal '23 and '24 are as follows. Our local option sales tax collections versus estimate for '23 were up $258,000. And then we also upped our estimate for our fiscal '24 because collections coming in so far this year, granted it's only been a quarter, 3 months worth, are up from last year. So we've increased that estimate by another $95,000, and I still feel that's gonna be a very conservative number as well. Interest income, as we all know, the interest market has gone up. Was very conservative prior years. Interest would only get a few thousand, $5,000 to $10,000 in interest. Last year, I had allocated to the local option sales tax fund about $30,000, so that's $23,000 more than what I had originally put in the budget. And then some projects weren't as expensive. For instance, the golf carts came in under about $18,000 under what we had originally budgeted. And some street projects came in under about $160,000 less that we didn't use out of local option sales tax because we had planned to use debt service funding for that, and the cost of the project was just slightly less. So when you combine those all together, it looks like right now, as we sit today, we're planning to end our fiscal '24 budget at 1.1 million, and then we would take out, if council approved this, another 110,000 for this project. So there is room there is funding available for this project in the local option sales tax funding.
Any other questions for Chad? So once again, you heard the recommendation to move forward. Any other questions or objections, or is there a motion to approve the recommendation?
Second?
And that is to award the contract to Synergy Contracting in the amount of $568,002. And that was Tom, and then seconded by Kyle, is that correct?
Yep.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shrek?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
I had lost my memo there, sorry, my cheat sheet. Okay, thank you, Chad. Okay, so moving right along, back where we were. Okay, we are now to item 7C, which is a resolution authorizing temporary transfer. This is a long one. Temporary transfer of surplus funds from the Carroll Sewer Utility Fund to the City of Carroll and authorizing advancement of costs for an urban renewal project and certification of expenses incurred by the city for payment under Iowa Code Section 40319. And Laura, is this you?
Yes, this is
Yeah.
me. Thank you. Back in November 21, so we're going back a little bit here, council approved a resolution for an internal loan from the sewer utility to the Capital Projects Corridor Commerce Fund to pay for expenses for a project related to the streetscape Phase 11. Since then, it was decided in May of this year that council wanted to reallocate those funds to the Adams Street reconstruction project instead. So staff worked with Nathan Overberg, Allers and Cooney to come up with this attached resolution to basically document reallocating those funds from one project to the other. We worked with him because this does involve TIF funding, and so we wanted to make sure we had the proper documentation.
Paper trail.
Yes.
Okay, so this will include a resolution as well. So looking for a approval of resolution authorizing temporary transfer of surplus
Yes.
from the sewer to the city of Carroll and authorizing advancement of costs incurred by the city of Carroll by the payment under Iowa Code Section 403.19. Any questions for Laura? Need a motion to do so?
So moved.
Tom, and
Second.
seconded by Laverne. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Base?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Dirks?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Perfect, thank you. Moving right along, we are at item number 7D, and that is annexation request from Ziegler LLC and Carroll County, Iowa. And Aaron, you're on.
Back in June.
Oh, it is a public hearing.
Oh, go
Yep,
ahead.
sorry.
Go
And
ahead.
I've just had, yeah, okay, public hearing. It is let's call it 5:44 because it's turning right now. 5:44, open the public hearing to this, and now Aaron, you're on.
Back in June, we were made aware that Ziegler Caterpillar was purchasing the ground, which is the old sale barn out to the west of town. They have made a request to annex into the community. So at this point, we've gone through the process to do the voluntary annexation along with the small strip of ground of the Sauk County Trail. So we're at that point of accepting that annexation into the city.
This is quite the process. It's really got, I have to,
Staff has been nervous,
Yeah.
making sure we dot all
Well,
our i's and
please
cross all our t's.
pass along to Kelly, thanks for her work on this, because this is, I think our last annexation was pretty much about the time I sat in his chair when we took over the east side of town, out there by Choice Auto, and all of that was the most recent one, so. About how many feet, I forgot to ask you this, about how many feet I'm curious. I mean, it's just enough so it's contiguous, whatever that is.
From Carroll County?
Yeah,
Oh,
that, that little,
I almost wanna say 15 feet, but I can't.
yeah, and, I don't know if it has to be 1 inch or
Yeah.
15 feet, I don't know,
Yes.
but it keeps it contiguous that way, and
Yeah.
so I don't know exactly what that took, but I meant to ask you that and I forgot. Approximately 30 acres of land, which is all 3 parcels.
The big concern for the city is that we've got to get water and sewer from right in front of the recycling center over to that parcel, which we'll be writing a developer's agreement with Ziegler Caterpillar to get that done. Finance-wise, the TIF increment that we create from this development will cover that. Aggressively, could be 5 years-ish, maybe better, conservatively, 10 years, but at a good investment for our community.
And did you receive any comments, public hearing, City Hall? Any of the council heard anything other than just green lights all the way?
Yeah, people are excited
Yeah.
about this.
We do have Wayne Hilbert from CNH Architecture who is partnering with Ziegler Caterpillar to put this up. If you have any questions regarding timelines at this point or anything like that, he'd be happy to address council also.
I think on the community standpoint, I think it'd be good to know when their plan is to start construction, how large a building. And then two, will this water and sewer line have potential to service the factory, Lear Manufacturing across the road if they decide to?
The answer to your question is yes, it will.
Okay.
But I'm gonna leave the time frames up to Mr. Hilbert.
So one thing I can add is, if you look at the map, we're just running across the creek to the northeast corner of their lot, but they have agreed to run it all the way west to the northwest corner at their expense.
But we don't have any agreement to that, or any, right? Like we don't have anything.
Our agreement is that we, at this point in time, our agreement, which will be the developer's agreement, is that we get it to their property line. They have Terry has made a statement to us that I would run it to be a good neighbor, I'll run it to the north, or to the west end of my property line. He doesn't have to, but that's what he said he would do.
So tonight's action is just taken to agree to annex the property, is all for tonight. Is it Wayne, did I say?
It's Wayne. Wayne
Why don't
Hubbard.
you just kind of address Kyle's questions, if just, kind of like timeline?
Sure.
You and I talked briefly before the meeting.
Yep.
A little bit, something that I know through solid waste, but just a memo that we're gonna address tomorrow. But why don't you go ahead and take the council through what you hope to be the timeline moving forward?
Okay. Just as a repeat, I'm Wayne Hilbert. I'm with CNH Architects. We've actually worked with Ziegler for almost 40 years, so we know them fairly well at this point. I know they're very excited to come into Carroll. The schedule that they have right now is they're doing the asbestos removal on the existing facilities that are out there. The existing building should be coming down, believe it's next week. We actually have a meeting tomorrow with the contractor. They've been bidding on this project for the last month, and so we get to see the bids. So Terry and I will meet up in Ankeny tomorrow, look at the bids. We'll probably give the owner a little bit of time after he gets over the shock of how much this is gonna cost. And then the contractor plans on getting started in about a month. The way the construction is gonna work is we're hoping to get a lot of the site work done this year. If possible, the contractor is gonna try to get in footings and foundations depending on weather. If that doesn't happen, then they'll do that first thing in the spring, right after winter. And the owner's goal is to have this building operated by December of next year, which is probably pushing it a bit for the size of the facility that it is. The size is about 65,000 square feet, roughly, plus or minus. So it's a good size facility for them. The building is basically in three components. It's office area. It's got a fairly decent sized warehouse portion to it, and then the back portion of the building is service bays. And then they do have a cold storage building also on site. So they'll be occupying the higher end of the site, on the west side of the site. And then the east side of the site will be for future additions and construction in the future. And then a holding pond on the very far east side of the site. So that's kind of a brief description of the project. Yeah.
Do you have a picture of what you showed us?
I do, yeah. And I don't know what the best way to do that
You can
is.
do that.
Just set it right there.
Yep.
Set it right here?
There's a little red dot there.
I see the little red dot, okay. So, oh, there you go, I see it now, okay.
And I can zoom in just a little bit.
Has he said, just on curiosity, has he said how many jobs that this will add?
Yeah, so when they first get started on this building, they're looking at probably 25 jobs to get started. This facility, once it gets really up and running, and in our experience with Ziegler, it doesn't take too long for them to really start to get going. It'll probably be 50 to 60 employees. They'll be out of this job, out of this facility. Yeah. So this is the outside of the building. So the elevation that you're looking at right now is as you're coming out of town, heading towards the west. You'll be looking at this office portion right here. It's a two-story office portion. And then they have display on the inside. And then as you go down, there is a little outdoor display area. A little further down, there'll be a customer dock. And then this gray portion of the building is warehouse. This is the warehouse portion of the building. And you're not seeing the shops in the back on this facility, but I do have a quick site plan I can show you. So this is the overall site here. This is the highway coming in. So they'll be sharing access into the site with a New Holland dealer next door. And then this is the main facility with the shops in the back and their front door here. And then they have a cold storage building in the back. So they'll be occupying this portion of the site, and then this eastern portion of it will be for future additions, depending on what they need in the future. And then just to this is the inside of the building. So we're looking at warehouse over here with some of their specialty areas like hose cutting. And then the office portion is here, and then this is the two-story space in the front of the building. And then these are all their service bays and a wash bay in the back. So there's also a second floor, but that's got training room facilities on the second floor, which very often they use for the community too. So maybe I got a drawing of this here. There's an interest. So upstairs, you're gonna enter upstairs, there's kind of a corridor through here, and then this is their training room facility and then they have lockers and bathrooms and stuff up there, and a lunchroom up on the second floor. Yeah.
The last meeting we had, you didn't know where you were gonna get your gas and electricity, which direction and all that?
I'm not sure about that. We're working on multiple facilities for them right now, and so I do not have that detail for you right now, yeah.
Maybe you can say this, and maybe can't. What's the expected cost of this project?
I'll know tomorrow.
We hope your bids come in better than ours have lately. How about that?
I'll give you a broad range. I would say anywhere from $25 to $35 million.
A little south of what we were told. Yeah.
So,
But that's probably just for the building, though. By the time they get all the fixtures in it and the land acquisition and so on. Is that?
yes,
am I
that's just the
clarifying?
building.
You're talking just for the building?
Yes.
So land acquisition and then all the furniture and fixtures that you get at it.
yes. Yeah. Yeah, there's other costs that are associated with this. I mean, the building does include a lot of the things that they'll have, but they will be bringing a lot of other specialty items inside the building. Yeah, once they get up and started.
Glad to have you.
Is there much of a chance of using any local subcontractors at all? Or are they open to that, or that's, it's all on
It's
the
already
contractor?
been, usually they do look for local subcontractors.
I
so
mean, that's already been done. Okay.
That's all been done. I
Okay.
can't tell you who they're gonna be using
Okay.
at this stage. I don't know. They have a general contractor that they've been using in
Sure.
Iowa. So he is collecting all the bids, but I know they have multiple bids for each of the sections.
Okay,
And
perfect.
so I'm sure there'll be some local people.
That was one of the things that they talked about when Terry was here, is his frustration is instead of having one set of contractors for every location they do in the States or so, they try to do all, as much local as they can, and he has a learning curve all the time, it seems like he said.
Yeah, it's always an interesting process.
It's a beautiful building. Be a wonderful addition to.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
It's definitely gonna address that side of
Oh,
town
yeah.
upcoming, and it's gonna be nice.
Yeah, yeah, as I said, they're excited to get here. This is kind of an area of the state that they haven't been in yet, and so they're excited to have this kind of area kind of plugged in for them. Yeah, I think altogether they have over 35 facilities in their network.
Your squads will have a new turnaround place. Any other questions for Wayne while he's up here? Okay, any other questions about, during the public hearing? Wayne, thank you.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So unless there's no other questions while the public hearing is in effect, Laura, I show 5:57, and we would go ahead and close the public hearing. And then, per recommendation, is council's consideration and approval of the resolution to perform the annexation. Is there a motion for that? Tom, and then Laverne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Dirks?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Bauer?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Resolution's approved.
Excellent, thank you. Okay. Moving right along. Are we at that time for, we'll go ahead and, committee reports are included in the packet. Comments from the mayor? I have none. Comments from city council? None, just a wave.
Let him.
Comments from the city manager?
I don't have any.
None? Okay, so this will close our, at least temporarily close the public section, or the session of the council meeting tonight. And then we are going to need to move into a closed session pursuant to code 21.5. And I'll need a motion to do that.
So moved.
Tom? Is there a second? Closed session?
Second.
That was Kyle. Any further discussion? Hearing none? Roll call, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Shrek? Yes. Bauer?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
Base?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks, Jack. Jack?